Hello and welcome everyone back to the Cat and Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're back with another banger PulseChain video giving us the latest and greatest of crypto news. And today we're looking at a nice green day, especially after what happened yesterday where things went down. Okay, there's high tensions between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We're going to talk about that today, how did it all start and what is it going to look like for the short to midterm for crypto, because as you guys already know, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, crypto is affected by politics. Okay, so we're going to go through that. But before we do so, let's see where are the prices. How are we doing on the macro side of things? This is Bitcoin. It is up 2.5%. Ethereum 2.1%. And thankfully, still above the six-figure mark for Bitcoin. And Ethereum is just under the 2.5 K. Love to see Ethereum stay strong above that 2.5K level. Right now, the ETH BTC ratio is kind of taking a hit. It's not doing that well, but we shall see, because right now it's kind of very volatile, especially during weekends, number one, and especially because of the sentiments that just happened basically from yesterday. So where did it all start? We're going to take you guys through this thread which covers the chain of events as it started. It all began with this tweet, or just in general with Elon Musk, which he was kind of leading the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. He stepped down in May. And as you can see here, this is a tweet that says, "As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life through the government." Now, this is where things kind of start to go a little bit bad between them two, with Elon Musk clearly disliking the big beautiful bill, which we're going to check in a second. We're going to cover the brief about what it entails. And this is the tweet: "I'm sorry, but I can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Now Donald Trump responds back by saying that Elon Musk actually knew about this big beautiful bill way before, and he's only sour after Donald Trump pulled away the EV mandate. This is what he had to say.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody.
And this is what Elon followed up with by, again, just denying it, straight up saying, "False. This bill was never shown to me, even once, and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it." And I believe, by the way, they had 48 hours to read it before it moves forward. He also followed up by saying, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Democrats would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude." He also says that he doesn't care about the EV tax credit by stating, "Keep the EV/solar incentives cut in the bill. Also, cut all the crazy spending increases in the big ugly bill so that America doesn't go bankrupt." And then he takes it as far as creating a poll and saying, "Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle?" And then Trump replies back by saying Elon has a Trump derangement syndrome. This is a term that he throws to people who dislike him with no constructive reason. Going on to Donald Trump's Truth Social, this is what Donald Trump had to say. "Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it." And this is what gets even crazier, okay? Elon Musk comes out with this tweet and says it's time to drop the real big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald Jr. Trump. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. And this is Donald Trump's response on Truth Social saying, I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again. I'm bringing us to the end of this thread. Elon Musk quote tweets one of Donald Trump's posts by saying, in light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Now, this would be actually very huge if they done so because that's basically their only way to reach the International Space Station. They would have to actually rely on Russia's, shuttles, whatever you call that, because I believe NASA, they are working on some, but it is still too early to be used. So this is kind of huge, but I do believe that there were news that he basically retraced that and he's not actually going to decommission. So basically from all of this, and by the way, we're going to quickly also talk about what it is, this big beautiful bill, what does it entail and why is there any risks that, or specifically why does Elon Musk doesn't like it. Guys, as to any story, there's always going to be two sides. We're going to cover that in today's video, but I just want to quickly state now in terms of crypto, and just in general, this all does feel very orchestrated. Okay, the fact that they're basically both fighting on, one is posting on Truth Social, one is posting on Twitter. It feels like they're ex-lovers effectively. But now, in terms of what is the big beautiful bill, we're going to quickly go through this article that summarizes it. There's I believe around 4 or 5 main points, and we're going to start with this: no tax on Social Security. On the campaign trail, Trump vowed to eliminate taxes on Social Security income, monthly payments to people with disabilities, and older adults. The House bill fell short of delivering on that promise, but it did temporarily increase the standard deduction of up to $4,000 for individuals 65 and over. That deduction would be in place from 2025 to 2028. The deduction extensions begin to decrease after 150,000 for married taxpayers filing jointly and 75,000 for individual filers. And then the second point here, which is actually, this is kind of the more controversial one, more Medicaid requirements. So higher Medicaid requirements, more specifically, let's see what it talks about. To help finance tax cuts elsewhere, Republicans have added additional restrictions and requirements for Medicaid, the healthcare program relied upon by millions of elderly, disabled, and low-income Americans. Changes to Medicaid, one of the biggest components of federal spending, was a major source of political strife that caused significant disagreement among lawmakers. One of the changes are new work requirements for childless adults without disabilities. To qualify, the bill says they would be required to work at least 80 hours per month beginning December 2026. Another change to the program was requiring re-enrollment to shift from once per year to every 6 months. Enrollees will also have to provide additional income and residency verifications. Okay, and now here to the third point: increased cap on the SALT tax. Okay, the bill increases the deduction limit of state and local taxes, a hugely important issue for a few Republican holdouts in some Democrat-controlled urban areas. This is currently at basically $10,000 cap on how much taxpayers can deduct from the amount that they owe in federal taxes. This is going to expire this year. In the new bill, big beautiful bill, House Republicans have raised the SALT limit to $40,000 for married couples with incomes up to $500,000. This too was a major point of contention. A 2017 law passed under the Trump administration held the cap at $10,000 and was designed to make room in federal budget to allow for tax breaks everywhere. Now to the fourth point. I believe that's the fourth, if I can count. SNAP benefits. Reforms have also been added to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the government program used by over 40 million low-income Americans. This new bill requires states to contribute more to the program, which is also partially funded by the federal government. It also adds work requirements for able-bodied SNAP enrollees who do not have dependents. Okay, so again, even stricter requirements there. No tax on overtime or tips and other elements. In my opinion, this is actually a very huge bill, and this is obviously one of the main promises that Donald Trump was giving pre-election. The bill makes good on one of Donald Trump's signature campaign promises, ending taxes on tips and overtime pay. Both were successfully included in the bill. The plan would also allow Americans to deduct interest on car loans for US made cars only. I think this is also a great idea. The child tax credit is also set to increase to 2,500 from 2,000 through to 2028, exclusively for Americans with Social Security numbers. Additionally, the bill proposes increasing the debt ceiling to 4 trillion. This is one of the biggest points for Elon Musk that he dislikes. Okay? The debt ceiling is the limit on the amount of money the government can borrow to pay its bills. Okay, this effectively means we're going to turn on that money printer, baby. Okay, which is good in our case. Okay, and remember, this is the whole quantitative easing side of things, where they're going to print their way out of money. And do remember, fortunately, people who are holding on and saving is effectively the people who are going to get punished. This is why it's better to move on to risk on assets during quantitative easing times, because the US dollar index gets weaker. Okay, interest rates gets lower, but more money in circulating supply. You can go check it out with the M2 money supply global liquidity index, a bunch of that. And by the way, yeah, quick reminder that the US total government debt is at $36 trillion, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I think it's almost too late. This is why they're looking at Bitcoin, the strategic reserve. They're hoping that they're going to be able to pay back what they're owing from Bitcoin, which is again is still good for. This is good news for us. We like that, more adoption for Bitcoin. And I also just want to show you guys, this is the US debt clock. It's a very beautiful site. I like this. It's just a quick reminder, because not only is the 36 trillion is an absolutely astounding number, and it's all increasing year over year nonstop. If you also compare it with the ratio to the US GDP, you'll see that's actually 133.45%. That means America is incurring more debt than how productive they are per year. That's crazy. They need to do something. They need to act on it fast. Okay? So stuff like this, understandably, is kind of risky. This is why I get Elon Musk's side, but at the same time, it's always going to be a quantitative tightening, quantitative easing phase. It's like a sine wave. We're just going through that half of the wave. We shall see. Right? This is why they call it the debt rollover. We're just that part of the cycle. The debt ceiling is the limit to the limit on the amount of money the government can borrow to pay its bills. Lifting the debt limit allows the government to pay for programs already approved by Congress. So what happens next? The Senate must approve the bill and could make changes, which some have already signaled they intend to do. So, if that happens, it will return to the House for another high-stakes vote, yada, yada, yada. This is what Donald Trump basically said. It's time for our friends in the United States Senate to get to work and send this bill to my desk as soon as possible, the president wrote on social media on Thursday. Now, quickly, we're also going to check out this article that talks about how the budget bill would add trillions more to the US debt that we just showed you guys, which is at 36 trillion, and increase inequality. Economists said a massive budget bill passed by House lawmakers last month, backed by Donald Trump, would weaken key safety net programs while greatly lifting the federal debt. The tax and spending package, which Republicans have doubled the One Big Beautiful Bill, would hurt millions of Americans by slashing Medicaid and food stamps, the economists wrote in June 2nd on behalf of the Economic Policy Institute, a left-leaning think tank. And here's a quote. Even with the safety net cuts, the House bill leads to public debt rising by over 3 trillion in the coming years and over 5 trillion over the next decade if provisions are made permanent rather than phasing out. The higher debt and deficits will put noticeable upward pressure on both inflation and interest rates in the coming years. The nation's rising deficit, the gap between annual government spending and revenue, the growing federal debt have sounded alarms on Wall Street, roiling financial markets and raising questions about the country's long term financial stability. The Trump administration describes the budget package as a once in a generation opportunity to cut government spending and drive economic growth. Is this going to be the case? Only time will tell. I am very interested. Guys, never a dull day in crypto. Am I right? And finally, we're going to quickly talk about this raising inequality claim. And here it says the six economics who penned the letter criticizing the Republican bill also said that large tax cuts under this legislation, combined with the hits to Medicaid and food stamps, would increase inequality. And here's the quote: the combination of cuts to key safety net programs like Medicaid and SNAP and tax cuts disproportionately benefiting higher income households means that the House budget constitutes an extremely large upward redistribution of income, they said. Mr. Trump has said the proposed tax cuts, which would extend reductions passed under his 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, would boost workers and incentivize investment in domestic manufacturing. Speaking of manufacturing, we're going to cover a quick index that you guys probably haven't seen before. It's called the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index. And this is a really great macro metric to keep an eye on, okay, to understand whether we have reached the peak of this bull run or not, or are we in a bear market. So watch that in a second. The White House Council of Economic Advisors claims that the Trump administration's policies, which include steep import tariffs on major U.S. trading partners, will supercharge growth and shrink the deficits. So again, we shall see. I hope you guys are very interested. This is, by the way, Richard Hart's response about this whole kind of tension that's growing between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And here he calls out Elon Musk on a tweet and says, Elon Musk, you should be live streaming instead of doing hit piece interviews with people that hate you. You can get your message out and have a positive impact talking about what you're passionate about without having a useless hater barking at you. And before people tell me to stream. Now, a lot of people did not like this tweet, by the way, from the PulseChain community because they are waiting on Richard Hart to stream. He hasn't streamed in absolute years. But here's my opinion, okay? I think it's not the right time for Richard Hart to stream, whether you agree with me or not. Welcome to PulseChain. It's the freedom of speech. That's what we present, right? I really don't think so, especially the fact that the Pulse and PulseX is below sacrifice rate. I believe the best time to do so is when the price gets back to those levels, or in general when Ethereum is doing much better. Okay, as promised, this is the Purchasing Managers Index chart that I talked about. And as promised, this is the Purchasing Managers Index chart that I mentioned. This is a chart that effectively is a result of a survey that is sent out to manufacturers, and it then creates a scale number that's between 0 and 100. Again, this is a monthly candle. You can't get any higher frequency because it's a monthly survey. Any number that's under 50 indicates that the market is contracting. Any number that's higher than 50 indicates that the market is expanding. Usually people also like to reduce noise and effectively false breakouts. So instead of having the threshold at 50 or above, they are putting it at 52 or above, as you guys can see, because all the other times that we've reached 52, effectively that's where it was a true breakout. So this is what I'm keeping an eye on. This is basically one of the greatest macro metrics to keep an eye on, and this is a quick summary from AI effectively talking about it. So what is a PMI, Purchasing Managers Index? And by the way, this specifically is the US Purchasing Managers Index. As you guys can see here, there's a global PMI that's basically compiled by S&P Global. The one with the US is the ISM, which is Institute of Supply Management. And then there's a UK one as well. So here is the PMI. It's a survey-based economic indicator that provides a snapshot of the current economic situation in a specific sector. So again, this is manufacturing and service. How it works: purchasing managers Companies are surveyed monthly on various aspects of their business, including new orders, output, employment, and suppliers' delivery times. These responses are compiled into a single index number. As I already said, how is it used? Economists, central bankers, and investors use PMIs to gauge the health of the economy and make informed decisions. In other news, we have a tweet from James Wynn, the guy who lost 100 million worth of Bitcoin in a long leverage. Says Bitcoin just went to zero on Maxi. And by the way, this is kind of we're going to go down a quick rabbit hole here where Grok helps us. Here it says Bitcoin dropped to zero on Maxi. By the way, it's a tier 1 exchange on June, which was effective yesterday, was likely a technical glitch, right? Probably a data feed error. This caused some user liquidations, but Bitcoin's price remained stable on other exchanges around 103,000, yada, yada, yada. No evidence supports, blah, blah, blah. And here, this guy says, hey, Grok, will those liquidated users get their funds back, or is this a scam technique? Grok then follows up by saying it's unclear if Maxi will refund liquidated users as no official statement has been released. Some exchanges like BitGet have compensated for similar glitches, but outcomes vary and users bear trading risks. Okay, and then this guy says, and then finally we're going to skip through that. Mexi's user agreement states they don't refund losses from technical glitches, and no public records show refunds for past incidents. So yeah, this is absolutely crazy. A quick reminder, guys, please do not leverage. Okay, you're playing with other people's money. I really suggest you stick to spot trading because at least you know that you own it. You're not borrowing other people's money. You can sleep like a baby at night, not have to worry about tomorrow waking up to someone who you owe money to that you can't pay back. And in other kind of greater news here from Watch Guru says just in 3.6 trillion asset manager JP Morgan to accept Bitcoin and crypto ETFs as collateral for loans. Again, this is really, really good. Ladies and gentlemen, you've reached the end of this video. If you are new to crypto or you're holding above $1,000 in your portfolio, you need to cover yourself with the crypto OPSEC principles, the operational security, how to protect yourself, what are the actual different attack vectors on a cold wallet, on a hot wallet, on a warm wallet, what is even the difference between a private key and a seed phrase. Okay, how to protect your wallet from even quantum computing, how to read smart contracts to see if it has malicious contracts or if it's not renounced, yada, 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 if it's mintable. Knowing about offline signature attacks all the way to learning actually how to encrypt your files and folders using an industry standard algorithm AES 256-bit. Check out the course link in the description, give it a read. I also have a general Learn Crypto the Ultimate Guide, which is another great theoretical course about just in general crypto and the different blockchains, different types of liquidities, the different types of ERCs. Give them a read, link in the description. Use the code NEW to get 50% off. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Join my Telegram. It's absolutely free. It has 1,464 members. Be part of the community. Have any questions? Are you new to crypto? I am there almost 20 times a day. So go there, say hi, let me know what you think of this video. Comment down below, share this with the crypto bros, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.